Hey everyone, Base DS here, and welcome back to more Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. Last time we made our way through Death Egg Zone and completely destroyed the Death Egg, but now we are here in the true final zone of the game, that being Doomsday Zone. So only Sonic has access to this zone, so if he didn't have all the Chaos Emeralds or the Super Emeralds, the game would have ended back in Death Egg Zone. But since we had all the Emeralds, we now have access to this final zone as Robotnik tries to make one more mad dash to get away with the Master Emerald. And so the main goal here is to just chase after him, avoid the missiles if you want to. They can't really harm you, they just slow you down. But regardless, overall it's a nice little fun zone here. And the only way you can die is if you run out of rings and cause Sonic to fall straight into the planet's atmosphere. So try to avoid doing that. But here we have the first boss, the Doomsday Shuttle. So he'll have these little projectiles come out. And to destroy it, you just have to lead all of the missiles toward the cockpit head. And that'll slowly bring it down. Granted, it can be a little bit easier said than done considering how those small projectiles work. Alright. Almost there, just a little bit more. There we go. And with that, the Doomsday Shuttle is down and out, but we're not done yet. Here we have the Doomsday Bomber. So it's basically like a smaller version of the Death Egg robot, and he's got the Master Emerald in its hands, and so we're just giving chase after it. And it'll release little bombs out from the jetpack that'll try to stop Sonic and knock him back a bit, but it's not going to stop us. It can try, but it's not going to work. And with that, we are done. With Tails in the Tornado, we got the Master Emerald back, and it's time to take it back where it belongs. And with the Master Emerald back on the floating island, the island rises up back into the sky. And with that, we are done with the first part of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. We got through Sonic and Tails' story, but we still got a whole nother playthrough to go through. But yeah, as for the game itself, I remember playing the game when it was Sonic 3 alone, back when it first came out. And of course, even when I had Sonic and Knuckles locked onto it, I still couldn't get very far. Granted, I was like 4 or 5 years old when it came out, and I didn't really get much further into the game until I was at least around 10 or 11, but regardless, it's still a fun game overall, and the biggest Sonic game to date on the Sega Genesis. But overall, it's a nice game to enjoy, and I enjoy playing it every chance I get, and generally, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is most people's favorite Sonic game. For me, to be honest, I'm gonna get a little bit of hate for this. I kind of lean towards Sonic 4 a bit more. Yeah, people are gonna hate me for saying that, but that's just how I feel. I tend to like Sonic 4 a little bit more, but I cannot deny the greatness that is Sonic 3 and Knuckles. It pretty much pushed the Sega Genesis to its limits at that time. And it was a great way for Sonic's adventure on Sega's 16-bit console to end, so hey, you can't really complain about that. And plus, the music overall, just perfection in my book, especially when you consider that At one point, Michael Jackson was on hand to work on it, but of course, like I said earlier, difficulties rose up and he had to leave the project, yet his music remained in the game. But regardless, overall, hands down, out of all the games that you would ever want to play for the Sega Genesis, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is definitely number one on the top of that list of all-time Genesis favorites. Sometimes Sonic 2 kind of beats it out, but the sheer size of Sonic 3 and Knuckles just completely dwarfs Sonic 2 in almost every aspect and just improves so much onto it. And that's why it's generally high on most people's favorite Sonic list and on list of memorable Sega Genesis games in general. But hey, like I said, we ain't done yet. We've still got a whole nother playthrough to go through. But for now, that'll go ahead and end things here. So, until next time, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all again when we continue the Supersonic Summer and Knuckles Marathon by continuing the game by going through Knuckles' story. So, see you all again later. Well, something tells me that's not a good thing. Not a good thing at all.